Refs, bunker, what the are we doing? Rugby league is in such a strong position at the moment. Record revenue, record profits. Crowds are actually starting to come back. But I can't help but feel I've wanted to make this video, and I felt what I'm feeling for a long time. Because the sole reason, the only thing that's holding the NRL and rugby league back at the moment is the consistently awful decisions, those being made by the bunker and the NRL referees. And what's crazy is that there are consistently bad because of how inconsistent they actually are. And look, I'm a Manly fan, and maybe losing to the last place Tigers when a top 4 spot and a home final is on the line is what's driving me to breaking point. But believe it or not, I wasn't going to make this video, and then last night happened. We were all happy, we were all excited to see Shaun Johnson play his final game, and while I did tip the Bulldogs, I wanted to believe in the fairy tale, and yet even despite the Dogs winning, we all want to celebrate and talk about Shaun Johnson, and I haven't heard a single word about SJ, because all anyone can talk about is the fact that Stephen Crichton shoulder charged Roger Tuivasa-Sheck in the head, and my man got put on report and is missing 1 week. Is it really this hard? Is it really this hard? I just watched Ola Kawatu pull off one of the great hits on Heath Mason, who got up to play the ball, get penalised, get sent to the sin bin. Stephen Crichton takes RTS's head off with his shoulder. RTS is missing the rest of the season with a grade 1 concussion, and Stephen Crichton is perfectly fine to keep on playing. And I could stop the video here and go on a rant about that exact same situation, but I'm not. First of all, because I'm not going to sit here and cry about Manly blowing a 16-0 lead to the Tigers, but it's been like this every single year. And as an NRL fan, as a hardcore NRL fan who already pays their memberships, but I go to as many away games as possible, I spend my money, I spend the parking, I go in the car, I go on the train, I go in the bus, and I take my ass to places all around this beautiful nation. Spend all that money to go to Magic Round, and at this point, it feels like I'm being ripped off, because who honestly even cares about the bunker anymore? In the sense of when a call, when a try, when anything goes to the bunker, do you really care? Do you really sit there and watch it and think about what you would think? 5-10 years ago, we would sit there, the commentators would analyze it. Now, even the commentators just turn their brains off because we don't want to know how intolerant the decisions coming out of the bunker are. You turn your brain off. You don't even care. You don't even watch it. You just wait for the call, and then you just move on and go along with the game, because that is how bad it has gotten. Even the commentators don't know what to talk about anymore. Yes, at the end of the day, it's probably not going to affect who wins the premiership, because outside of 2019 and 2013, I can't really think of many more grand finals that were really influenced by the refereeing. Funnily enough, with both the Roosters, but it's hard not to see those teams as the deserving premiers of those years. But for a team trying to celebrate a milestone like SJ, for Manly who's trying to secure a home final at Brookie, maybe even get into the top 4, week after week, call after call, and you know what? The referees, you can deal with it. Honestly, they are very disappointing themselves, and when they're blowing these 6 against, I don't even know what they are for half the time. And look, it's hard when you're watching it TV, and it's harder when you're watching it at the ground, because you don't know what's going on in the ruck. But the refereeing's getting worse. Every year we talk about how good the refereeing is in Origin because he puts the whistle away. This year's Origin was by far the worst officiated because Ashley Klein decided to make the game's biggest spectacle all about himself. And maybe that's not his fault. Maybe that's a directive. Maybe that's a bloody call from the NRL to crack down. But at the end of the day, we sit here, we talk about players, we criticize coaches, and we criticize whole boards and whole organizations. The Tigers may be getting their 3rd straight wooden spoon in the Spoon Bowl in a few weeks' time, but by far, and I mean by far, the worst organization within the NRL at the moment is the referee/bunkers, and it's by a country mile. Now, it could be directions from the NRL, or heck, maybe the bunker and the NRL refs themselves are just putting on these bad performances. We don't know. But they are slowly but surely ruining the game. Nobody watches NRL every single game anymore because there's no point. We're getting to the business end of the season where top 4, top 8 spots are on the line, and now we're starting to get really frustrated because it's happening. But look back throughout the year, and every single week there's been bad calls, there's been horrible decisions made by the bunker, whether it's a sin bin that just comes in midway through the game or something in the final few minutes. There've been so many bad calls, and it's ruined teams' top 4, top 8 chances. And yes, in the long run, if you don't win the premiership, then who cares, alright? At the end of the day, when you don't win the comp, you're never going to remember that season fondly. But in the present, coaches, assistant coaches, players, their careers are getting determined by results, and the bunker is having way more of an influence on those results than it should be. And I know what's caused this video and for me to have such frustration is the concussions, but it's not just the concussions. They've changed the obstruction rule out of nowhere midway through the year with Nathan Cleary last week. You had Liam Martin the week before, but then again, we say that in the same weekend, Daly Cherry Evans makes a defensive decision and Adam Pompey's try gets overturned. Earlier this year, Jared Waerea-Hargreaves did what he was meant to do, run through the line. Dylan Edwards used him as a way to milk a penalty and they got one. It's just everything is so inconsistent, and the high shots, it is hard. I know it is hard because unfortunately, whether you like it or not, we're getting closer and closer to touch football or away in rugby union where any tackle above the shoulders is going to be a penalty or a sin bin. We are getting to that because we just don't know with concussions. We've learned so much in the last 5 years. It's only going to continue. But last night, Stephen Crichton, shoulder charge to the head. Yes, he fell, but I watched Reece Walsh fall, and thank God New South Wales was so much better than Queensland because that could have decided an entire Origin series because Reece Walsh had a slip. But last night, there's mitigating circumstances. So now we want to talk about mitigating circumstances. But that wasn't even like a situation where Roger Tuivasa just got up and kept playing, which you go, all right, fair enough, he hasn't gone off. The man's literally out for the rest of the year with a grade 1 concussion. This is literally the thing you're trying to prevent. We talk about concussions all the time. That's why we're cracking down on these high shots. RTS got knocked out and they're letting Stephen Crichton play on. He's going to miss 1 week. Michael Jennings does it to Jason Saab and no one gives a crap. And then Ola Kawatu performs a pretty good hit on Heath Mason, but he's fine. And these ones where guys are getting knocked out, they're not a sin bin. At the end of the day, it's at the point where I don't know what directions the NRL are sending, but even then, are you that bad at your job, boys? And I don't want to sound like a dick because it's a hard job. And I can understand when referees have bad games on their day. Players have bad games all the time. But get the directors out of there. Graham Annesley, come out, apologise on a Monday morning. The NRL have to move him on. I'm sorry. I don't like seeing people lose their jobs. God forbid. It's horrible, right? But JD got the punt this year. Brad Arthur took the Eels to a grand final 2 years ago and got the punt. The bunker has been consistently horrible for years. The fans pay their money. Players are relying on their careers. Coaches are always under the pump. And this is deciding games. It doesn't matter if it's not a premiership game. Results coming 8th or 9th, 4th or 5th, 7th or 11th, getting out of the bottom 4 from just 13th to 14th, avoiding the wooden spoon. All of this matters when it comes to that. And the bunker is just that bad. It's influencing results. It's been the worst thing to happen. It's holding the game so much back. I can guarantee you so many fans of the game will come back, or more fans will become more casual. They'll watch more games when the bunker and when the refs just finally get their act together. Maybe it's as easy as just letting every game play out. The grand final was so good last year. Unless it's something super obvious like in that grand final, and credit where credit's due, Adam G himself actually hasn't been that good in his games this year. But unless it's super obvious for everyone to see, then you blow it. Again, there's always going to be calls, there's always going to be whingers like me who's whinging throughout this video. But is it really that hard? I'm not trying to be a dick, but especially for the guys in the bunker, is it really that hard? I do think there needs to be a separation. Don't make the refs do the bunker and let the bunker do the bunker. The NRL, you've got the money. Separate them, have people. Prioritize the bunker, have the same people in there, and then have the refs, all right? Now, I hate to think of how bad the New South Wales Cup, Queensland Cup refs and the refs coming through if we're sticking with these same guys who have been consistently awful for the better part of a few years. But something's got to change. The Rabbitohs sacked JD and enforced change. The Eels have sacked Brad Arthur and enforced change. The Tigers just sacked their entire board in the last off-season. It can be done, and unfortunately, it's holding the game back. And for a guy who spends all his money, I promote the game out of my own time on this YouTube channel where a few absolute legends, Hall of Fame, kings and queens come out to leave a comment, to leave a like, to subscribe because they want to hear some loser talking out of his bedroom through a microphone he bought off Amazon. We are sick of it. The players are sick of it. You're influencing people's lives. And at the end of the day, Graham Annesley has done a lot worse of a job than JD and Brad Arthur did. That's for sure. I always say you got to give the refs respect. I'm not saying throw beer cans at them, but we can at least have some accountability. So NRL, please, for the love of rugby league, for the sake of the players, for the sake of the coaches, for the sake of the fans who are spending hundreds, near thousands of dollars yearly to watch this sport, to fund your careers, please fix the goddamn bunker. Enforce change, make it one rule, at least make it consistent, because no matter what consistency you make, I'm sure that the diehards will learn to love it. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into my little rant. As always, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet already. Leave your comments down below. Am I just overreacting because I saw my team piss their season away by losing to the Tigers? It's always up to debate, kings and queens, and I'll see yous in the next one.